it may be the most fundamental question of human history. What really happens to us when we die? It is the question that has populated our imaginations, forged millennia of religious beliefs. Death controls us, terrorizes, takes our families, ends our lives. But is death the absolute end, or do we, in some form, go on?
I knew they were dead. It's in his voice exactly.
We actually got a voice on our third night.
And the vernacular, it's dead people talking.
Can 21st century technology make it possible to receive communication from another dimension? Another world beyond.
When I played back the recording, it was very, very faint, like a whisper, and we could hear Kathy's voice saying, "I'm still here."
These are voices of someone who's present but not seen.
You know, if you get a voice in a place where voices shouldn't be, then that is paranormal.
Well, they said something.
It's a male voice.
I believe that those on the other side want to reach us. They want to know we're okay. We want to know that they're okay. It's as simple as this. Try it.
That was such a hard day. It was a beautiful sunny day. Neither one of them kayaked at all. Maybe once in their whole lives did they ever go kayaking. So they had no life jackets, no skirts.
Okay, I'm trying to film you now, Braden. Can you stand still?
In the spring of 2001, Vicky's son Braden and his friend Jim set out in kayaks at Chuckanut Cove, an inlet of Bellingham Bay, north of Seattle.
I tried to put it out of my mind, you know how mothers do. Okay, there's something wrong. No, there's nothing wrong. They'll be fine. Well, they just never came back. They promised me that they would stay close to the shore. The problem with that area is that it's all cliff. The search went on for 3 days, and I was taken up in a helicopter so that I could see the area, and it was an amazing experience because you just see the vastness.
Vicky's son Braden, then a 21-year-old straight-A college student, and his friend Jim Robinson were never seen again. The kayaks turned up on shore, but the bodies of Braden and Jim were never found.
Here we are at the cove. And this is where they parked.
Not long after his death, Braden's mother, Vicky, a college English teacher, was shocked by something she thought she heard on her phone message recorder.
He first came on the answering machine, and it's this one right here. This is the answering machine. And this was approximately 5 months after he passed that he started coming on the answering machine. He left me 4 messages that I know of, 2 of which I saved. The first 2 I deleted because I frankly thought that I was going around the bend. I thought, okay, this could be some sort of, again, normal radio interference or something. Although it sounded exactly like him, I couldn't bring myself to believe that that was actually him. The third one, he very simply said, "Mom," and it was very insistent, and I thought, okay, now he's got my attention. It's in his voice exactly.
Vicky's experience led her to join a growing number of researchers worldwide investigating what is called electronic voice phenomena, or EVP.
When I first started getting messages from Braden, most of them were, I love you. I love you, Mom. I love you. I mean, that's what they want us to know. We also had funny sayings, and this one saying comes from a cartoon character, and the saying is "Yee-Bah." Okay, so he's saying "Yee-Bah." And that's his voice. That's his actual voice.
Vicky then began using more sophisticated digital voice recorders and computers, asking questions, and, she says, receiving answers.
Our nickname for each other was Lai, L-A-I, we spelled it. It's a long story, but we used to call each other Lai all the time. And so I asked him if we should get an animal, and here he says, of course, Lai. And this is in his voice off a digital recorder, so you can get them.
Of course, Lai. Of course, Lai.
I love that one.
Okay, can I open my stocking now?
In Lawrenceville, Georgia, a suburb of Atlanta, Martha Copeland believes she has established communication with her daughter, Kathy.
Kathy was a very, very outgoing type person. She was adventurous, and she could be headstrong too at the same time. She was also a very spiritual person.
Kathy was killed in a car crash on her way to work just before Christmas. This birthday would be her last. She was 20 years old. A few weeks later, a close cousin asked Kathy's mother to listen to a recording on her computer.
And when I played back the recording, it was very, very faint, like a whisper, and we could hear Kathy's voice saying, I'm still here. I heard that, I just had chills, but I was shocked, but I was surprised and happy at the same time. I made a promise to Kathy. I said, I'm going to try. If it takes me for the rest of my life, Kathy, I'm going to get a hold of you over there. Another time, I had left the house to go shopping, and I forgot her dog Doja was in the house. And of course, when I came home, he had torn my house up. When I listened to the recording, through the barking and everything, I could hear Kathy say, Doja, go outside. My recordings, to me, sounds just like Kathy's there. It's my daughter, and a mother knows her daughter.
The best way, I think, to describe EVP, what it is unexpected voices in recording media. But what it is voices that are being formed in the recording equipment. We know that it's the transfiguration or the modification of available audio noise inside of the electronics. You don't hear it in the air, you have to play it back.
Tom Butler is an engineer. His wife Lisa has a degree in psychology.
They happen to be early generation, but they have newer ones.
The Butlers use a simple voice-activated digital recorder, ask a question, wait for an answer, and analyze the information on their computers.
Once you've erased everything, you start.
We were both high-level corporate workers. I didn't believe it. I tried it, and I proved it to myself. And when you prove something to yourself, it is much more real than believing either of us.
The Butlers also analyze images they receive through the chaos of feedback from a video camera, often discovering lifelike figures.
He's a soldier, a man in uniform, but what he's got is he's holding up his little terrier.
With two eyes, nose looking right at you. And
one popular claim of skeptics is that when we stare at a wall with a pattern on it, our mind will sometimes create faces in that wall.
Well, some people say that we're just imagining things, imagining faces or animals or whatever. And that's because our brains as humans are trained to recognize faces. And we'll make faces out of anything. But I'm equally sure that some are clearly human and animal images.
And sometimes we're doing that with EVP too, you know, we're listening to these sounds and we want so much to hear something that our mind will start creating answers in the noises. And that happens actually quite a bit. I've worked with teams of EVP experimenters, and there is a tendency for humans to find something familiar in chaos. And so we do sometimes create voices that maybe do not exist. On the other hand, some of these voices are so clear that there's no way to explain that as a fabrication of the mind.
This is Sean that's talking. We don't know who this is. We'd love to find out. He's just saying his name, but sometimes that's all we need to hear. His name is Joshua.
There's plenty of really good, solid evidence to suggest, to prove to me and to any rational mind that these are voices of someone who's present but not seen.
I slide this dial, which turns
EVP researcher Margaret Downey has captured images and voices she believes are related to big cat trainer Jeff Gaynor, killed in a car crash not far from her home.
Here's one about Jeff. I asked on the anniversary of Jeff's crossing if he was there and could he talk, and someone said tonight Jeff met Elvis.
Jeff's mother had a mad crush on Elvis.
Very clear. I can show an image or play an audio clip and say, can you hear this? And people can say yes or no. But a medium can't say, well, listen to this, or this is the thought I had. It's more tangible. This work is more tangible.
I was called in on the space program after 3 astronauts had died on the launch pad. They were burned to death. The reason for that was that the atmosphere that was used in the capsule was pure oxygen.
Alec McCrae studied the physics of sound, specifically voice transmissions, for NASA.
Very good control with it.
Alec, at first, was an EVP skeptic.
And I was totally dismissive of this because I knew all about voice and hearing and that because I had worked on the space program, as I thought, and that this was impossible. If it was true, it was an utterly fascinating subject, so I wanted to look into it. And I did mathematical analysis of those speech fragments, and that proved that it was actually a phenomenon. There was something there.
It is an inquiry into the afterlife that has intrigued millions for millennia. Famed magician Harry Houdini spent a lifetime attempting to connect with his beloved mother after her death, finding and exposing clever hoaxes and illusions of his day. Even in the face of fraud, scientists and others have continued to seek objective evidence of the afterlife. Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb and phonograph, believed a telephone could be constructed to communicate with the dead.
At the end of World War II, audio taping became popular for the first time in history. And people would tape nature sounds, songs, conversations, and sometimes they'd play it back and they'd hear tiny voices on tape, voices that by all rational thought shouldn't have been there. So the name originally became EVP, or electronic voice phenomenon.
Now, new technology pushes electronic voice phenomena into new frontiers with the promise of an answer to the question asked through the ages. And now, for the first time, is there objective scientific proof?
Most people have some sort of recording device in their home now, be it cassette recorder, digital recorder, computer.
We expect, with the number of people working on it, there's a lot of research, like I say, around the world. We do expect to see some major breakthroughs in the future.
Do we survive? Isn't that one of the biggest questions that any of us have? Is this it? I mean, is it just like that? I mean, we're here and tomorrow we're not here anymore, and